So many are driving to a safe place. In fact, we've increased the number of troopers on Florida roadways to help move traffic and keep people moving down the road. We have 1,700 troopers working 12-hour shifts right now. These dedicated officers are 100% focused on safety and aren't taking a day off. Also, all administrative duties have been suspended, which means all sworn FHP troopers are on Florida's roads helping families evacuate and bringing supplies into areas of need. We've also increased the number of road rangers who are patrolling Florida's roadways 24/7 to assist motorists. Around the state, we have 13 traffic management centers where hundreds of DOT workers are monitoring traffic cameras 24/7 to ensure traffic flows continue and evacuations proceed without interruption. We also have a dedicated DOT team at the State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee, working around the clock, watching road cameras and keeping traffic flowing. All this is to help you to get to safety as you evacuate. Regarding contraflow, we still need southbound lanes to get needed gas and supplies down to shelters and families that need the southern parts needed in the southern part of the state. Contraflow also inhibits our ability to get emergency vehicles to people that need them. Right now, to ease congestion, we have activated the use of shoulders on I-75 from Wildwood to the Georgia line. Please drive safely and listen to law enforcement. They're working to keep you and your family safe. Real-time traffic information and evacuation routes are available at fl511.com. We're seeing bottlenecks at major highway junctions, which brings up an important point. You do not need to evacuate out of the state or hundreds of miles away to be safe. If you do not need to be on the road, please do not travel. Find shelters in your county. You can visit floridadisaster.org/shelters to find out where shelters are in your area. We are coordinating with Google's emergency response team to prepare to close roads in Google Maps in real time in the event that Hurricane Irma forces the closure of any roads in the aftermath of the storm. At my direction, all tolls have been waived across Florida roadways. This should help families evacuate quickly and safely. Visit Florida's Welcome Centers have transitioned to emergency information centers to help direct evacuees with the most up-to-date information. Visit Florida's Welcome Center staff are all Red Cross certified and stand ready to assist at shelters and other areas as needed. These are at all our borders of the state. If you are concerned that you do not have a way to evacuate due to traffic, please call the Florida Emergency Information Line, 1-800-342-3557. For whatever reason, if you can't evacuate, call that number, 1-800-342-3557, which is a dedicated emergency management hotline. We will do everything we can to help get you out. Fuel. One of our top priorities remains fuel availability. I was alerted yesterday by the Vice President that the federal government has waived additional rules and regulations to allow more fuel to get to Florida roads. We know there are problems with supply at gas stations and are working around the clock to get fuel to you. I've directed state law enforcement to provide escort services to gas trucks to get through traffic so they can get to the stations faster. These law enforcement escorts have continued throughout the night. We're going to keep this going as long as possible. I'm sure you've seen them across the state. For gas stations and evacuation zone. We need you to stay open as long as you can so people can get out. We will arrange police escorts for your employees so they can get out safely. We need your gas stations to stay open as long as you can so we can get more people gas so they can evacuate. My staff is reaching out to gas stations in the Keys to provide contact to help coordinate law enforcement escorts for staff and tankers. We absolutely know fuel is important, and we are absolutely devoting every state resource to addressing this. 3 tanker ships delivered fuel to Port Tampa yesterday for resupply efforts, each delivering 1.2 million gallons of fuel. State law enforcement continues to escort fuel supply trucks from Port of Tampa and Port Everglades directly to gas stations in your community. As of 6 p.m. last night, 8.4 million gallons of fuel was shipped into Port Everglades and more than 5 million gallons of fuel was shipped into Port Tampa Bay. While we are making progress, unfortunately you are going to see lines and unfortunately you're going to see outages. I know this is frustrating and we will not stop working on this. If you are in an evacuation zone in South Florida, you need to leave. Port Everglades will be closing tonight for safety, and gas will no longer be being resupplied into much of South Florida until after the storm. If you are concerned that you do not have a way to evacuate because of fuel issue, use that same number, 1-800-342-3557. We will do everything we can to get you out. But you have to call now if you're in an evacuation zone. We cannot save you in the middle of the storm. If you know you're going into a shelter in your county, please take only the amount of gas you need. You don't need to fill up your whole tank if you're going to stay in the county. The Gas Buddy app is a great resource to find open stations with fuel. All ports still remain open today and operating to bring fuel and supplies in. National Guard. 7,000 members, all available members of our National Guard, are now activated. Every member has been activated in advance of this storm that we can activate. On law enforcement, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is preparing search and rescue teams for potential deployment and has more than 200 officers standing by for the first wave of response based on potential storm impacts. My staff and I have been reaching out to law enforcement across the state to make sure they have the resources to keep people safe. Utility providers. They are actively pre-positioning resources throughout the state and in neighboring states. We know from previous storms how incredibly important it is to get power restored as quickly as we can. Florida Power & Light has activated its emergency response plan and has thousands of workers preparing to respond to Irma. They are one of the largest providers in the state. They're also working with out-of-state utilities and electrical contracting companies to secure additional resources. They have opened more than 20 staging sites throughout the state where restoration crews, trucks, and equipment are stationed. I'm having calls with the utilities every day, try to make sure we provide all the resources and they're prepared. Shelters. Last night, I directed the closure of all public schools, state colleges, state universities, and state offices for their normal activities effective today through Monday to ensure we have every space available for sheltering and staging. Right now, Floridians must have access to every possible safe place to shelter. Over 17,000 people have signed up to volunteer, exceeding our goal. That is great, but we can always use more volunteers. I want to thank everyone who has opened their heart to help those in Irma's path. We cannot thank you enough, but we can always use more. Floridians can go to volunteerflorida.org to sign up for volunteer opportunities. There is absolutely no reason for anyone not to evacuate if you're ordered to do so. Shelters are available, and you should follow the direction of local officials to go to the shelter that fits your needs. You can visit floridadisaster.org/shelters to find a shelter in your county or neighboring counties. If you need a hotel, go to expedia.com/Florida. Expedia is working on hotel occupancy in real time. Airbnb has activated its disaster response program. If you're an evacuee in need of a place to stay or an Airbnb host looking to open your home to an evacuee, go to airbnb.com/disaster. The Florida Restaurant Lodging Association has encouraged all hotels to waive pet policies, offer shelter, and be compassionate with cancellations. We are running out of time. The storm is almost here. If you are in an evacuation zone, you need to go now. This is a catastrophic storm that our state has never seen. We cannot rebuild your home. We can rebuild your home. We cannot rebuild your life. Protecting life is our absolute top priority. Our number one priority is protecting everyone's life. Everyone's life is important. No resource or expense will be spared to protect families. Floridians are strong, we're resilient. In times like this, we band together and help each other. We will keep working around the clock, doing everything we can to help you prepare. And after the storm passes, we'll be here to lift each other up and recover. We will make it through this together. Florida is an amazing melting pot of loving people, and I'm proud of this incredible state. Este huracán es muy peligroso. Su vida es lo más importante. Cada familia debe de tener un plan. Por favor, salgan si están en zona de evacuación. Para más información, por favor, llamen a 1-800-342-3557. Mi prioridad es que todos Turistas, familias en la Florida estén seguros y preparados. Tienen que tener 3 días de agua, alimentos y las medicinas que necesiten. Como gobernador, mi prioridad es que todos en la Florida estén seguros. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has. Yes, ma'am.
As far as the shelter situation goes, you're bringing people in from the Lake area. Have you added additional shelters?
All right, that is Governor Scott giving an update on the state's response to Hurricane Irma. A couple of things really stand out. He said this a couple of times. This is a major life-threatening event. It will impact both the East and the West Coast.
All right, that's both coasts, just telling us to be prepared, stay vigilant, and keep safe. Your family and your lives are worth it. I want you to stay safe. We're going to break into another press conference around 10:30. We'll see you then.